Hi, Jerry with BoaterInput. You know, one thing I've noticed over the years is that many recreational boaters really haven't learned the rules of the road when it comes to the water. You know, when you learn to drive a car, you typically go through driver's education. You get to practice behind the wheel. You got to take a test before you actually get your license. But with boating, oftentimes someone buys a boat and they're given a quick walkthrough by the dealer or by the seller, and then they're off in the water and they're basically on their own. And that's why boating can be very intimidating for a lot of new or beginner boaters. And so in this video today, I'm going to go over some of the key navigational rules and rules of the road. I'm going to explain what they are as well as why each of them exist to help give you more confidence out on the water. Now, before we get into the specific navigational rules, there is one thing that matters more than anything else, and that is avoiding a collision always trumps or is more important than technically having the right of way. This is called the general prudential rule, and I know it's fairly obvious, but even if another boat is supposed to yield, don't insist on your rights and hold your course stubbornly. And don't assume the other operator understands the rules, because the reality is not everyone on the water knows these rules, and some might be distracted or might not even see you. And if you could have avoided an accident but chose not to do so because you had the right of way, you could legally be at fault. Now, when my daughters were growing up and learning to drive a car, I always cautioned them whenever we approached intersections, something that they really enjoyed, I might add. I would frequently remind them that you could be both right and dead. That is, you constantly need to pay attention to the other drivers around there because they may not be doing the right thing. And that applies to whether you're talking about boats or cars. And so, you know, even though you may technically be right, still is a good idea to take heed and make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing. In a moment, I'm going to go over some specific scenarios, but before we do that, there are two terms that you need to know. And the first is, stand-on vessel, and the other is give-way vessel. The stand-on vessel is a boat that is expected to maintain course and speed, whereas a give-way vessel is a vessel that is expected to maneuver away safely. Now, the reason these rules exist is actually pretty simple, because predictability prevents accidents. If both boats are constantly changing direction or speed, this could create confusion and increase the risk of an accident. Let's start with one of the easiest scenarios. If two boats are approaching each other head-on, both boats should turn to the starboard or to the right side. This is, very similar to driving a car on a two-lane road in the U.S., where you should, should stay on the right side. But one mistake that newer boaters sometimes make is waiting too long to maneuver. Small last-second steering corrections can actually cause confusion with the other operator because they may not know what it is that you are trying to do. Now let's talk about the situation that confuses the most boaters, and that is crossing situations. This is when two boats are approaching each other from different angles and their paths may in fact intersect. Here's the basic rule. If another boat approaches from your starboard side, meaning your right side, you are generally the give-way vessel. The boat on your right is typically the stand-on vessel, meaning that that boat should maintain its course and speed. This is actually very easy to remember because it works very similarly to many roadway intersection rules for automobiles here in the United States. At a four-way stop, the vehicle on the right generally has priority. So the same concept applies here with boats. Now let's talk about overtaking or passing. The overtaking boat, that is the one doing the passing, is always responsible for staying clear. In simple terms, if you're coming up from behind another vessel, it is your responsibility to pass safely. Now, it's okay to pass on either the left or the right, depending on the conditions, but you need to take caution when doing so. The reason why the one doing the passing bears responsibility is simply because they can see the slower boat, they can control the closing speed, and they generally have an overall better view of the situation. And so this is also where good seamanship comes into play. Good captains don't just think about collision avoidance, but you should also think about things like, your wake, and the impact that it'll have on other boats, and passenger comfort, and giving other boaters plenty of space, especially since they may not notice you approaching from behind. Now let's clear up a few common misunderstandings, and the first concerns sailboats versus powerboats. Generally speaking, powerboats are expected to yield to sailboats that are operating under sail. The reason is that sailboats are often less maneuverable because they depend on wind direction and sail positioning. But here's an important detail that many boaters don't realize. If a sailboat is using an engine, it is legally considered a powerboat. Therefore, it does not enjoy any special priority when it comes to rules of the road. Now let's talk about fishing boats, because this is an area where a lot of recreational boaters get confused. Many anglers assume, hey, since I'm fishing, everyone else has to move out of my way. And under the navigational rules, it does say vessels engaged in fishing are given priority as the stand-on vessel. But here's the catch. When they say vessels engaged in fishing, they don't mean like a recreational angler throwing a line overboard. They're actually talking about largely commercial vessels that may be pulling a large nets or trawls or special equipment that makes them less able to be maneuvered. So, technically speaking, just because you're fishing doesn't give you priority. So even if you are, say, you're trolling some crankbaits, you're coming across another vessel, that doesn't give you priority necessarily. However, as far as, but beyond the legal requirements, good seamanship generally would suggest that you should give people who are fishing a lot of latitude, give them a lot of space. They're often got lines out that could get entangled in your prop, and they oftentimes are standing up and fishing, and so if you throw a large wake, it may cause a little bit of instability. Someone could actually fall overboard. So just as a good general practice, if you come across someone who is fishing, it's a good idea to give them plenty of room. Now I want to discuss something that may not technically fall under the classic right-of-way rules, but is very important seamanship nonetheless, and that is giving space to boats towing skiers or tubers, which is something that I do quite often. In many states, the recommendation or legal requirement is to stay at least 100 feet from either side of that vessel and 100 feet behind the person being towed. But personally, I think 100 feet is the bare minimum and should not be the target. And here's why. Imagine your boat is pulling a tuber or skier and the rider suddenly falls. If there's a boat trailing behind at 30 miles per hour, it would only have roughly 2.3 seconds to react at 100 feet. And at 50 miles per hour, that reaction time drops to about 1.4 seconds, according to my calculations. So that's almost no time at all. So in this case, what is legal and what is advisable are not exactly the same thing. The bottom line is you should use your judgment and stay a considerable distance away from someone towing a skier or tuber, and give yourself plenty of time to react based on your speed. While it's important to know the rules of navigation, being a good captain is also about using common sense and practicing good habits, such as slowing down in crowded waters or bad conditions, making your intentions obvious and early to other boaters, never assuming other boaters know the rules, avoiding aggressive maneuvers, and leaving plenty of room for mistakes. In many states, you are now required to pass a boater certification test depending on your age and or when you were born. For example, down here in Texas, boater education is required for everyone born on or after September 1, 1993, in order to legally operate a motorboat on public waterways. And I believe that pertains to boats, say 10 horsepower and above, if I'm not mistaken. And I will leave a link in the video description of where you can look up the education requirements and find an approved online course for your state. So, which of these boating rules do you find most confusing or sometimes see other boaters violate? Drop a comment down below to let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like this video and found it helpful, click on that like button and be sure to subscribe to my channel to get my weekly tips and insights for boaters. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the water.